It was awful throughout the 4 quarters of this game. And this is kind of what I was talking about week 2 and week 3 when I'm talking about the middle part of the game, right?
It's a disaster right
This
now.
is what happens because eventually the game's going to get away from you. And I said we can't do that against good teams because the game's going to get away from us. And I even consider Minnesota that good of a team, and it still got away from us.
Yeah, they're not a great team, but they're tough. They're always tough.
They play their brand of football. They don't deviate from that. They're physical. They don't turn the ball over. They don't get penalized a ton. They do what they do very well. And again, I knew that was going to come back to bite us in the ass. And everybody's like, why are you being negative after wins? It's not being negative after wins. It's pointing out the obvious that quarters 2 and 3 matter. And we were starting good, kind of playing good way in the second quarter. But then the middle part of the game was just, there was nothing there. There was no, and both games, Michigan State and Maryland, both of those games we came at the end, kind of turned it up. You can't rely on that to flip that switch every game. It's not going to happen. You have to come out and put yourself in a good position to run by getting, you get the lead, and then that way you can run your offense the way you want to run it. Don't let them dictate how you run your offense. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as you let them relinquish the lead, especially when you gave up that touchdown, they were in full control of everything they were doing on the offensive side of the ball, and we could not answer to save our life.
Well, Coach Rhule, we talked about this last week too. Coach Rhule talks about the middle 8, how important it is. It's been kind of a buzzword, I think, more so this year across the country.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, for as much as he talks about it, they are an absolute disaster. They haven't really lost many games yet, except for this one as a result of the middle 8. They're going to lose more if they do not figure this out. Because Northwestern, if they win tomorrow, they could be ranked come Sunday. They'll be 5-2 with some pretty decent wins. That's going to be a tougher game than people want to admit. UCLA is apparently figuring it out. We'll find out.
We'll see a couple more games. Just see,
But USC is going to be tough.
USC,
Nebraska has the very realistic possibility to struggle to get to 6 wins.
I don't know if I'm that worried, but I do see your point.
I tweeted last week 6 to 7 wins. That's what I see for this team, and I retweeted it again tonight. I think it's a realistic possibility because I just don't understand how you can continue to allow 180 yards rushing to a team that doesn't run the ball week after week after week. You can't stop the run. I don't know how Emmett Johnson is the second leading rusher in the Big Ten and top 10 nationally. Because,
by the way, shout out to him.
Oh, dude, the kid's phenomenal. That kid needs to be getting 20-plus rushing attempts a game and another 5 through the air. I know that a couple weeks ago I was like, you can't keep just kind of putting that workload on him, but he's your best player on offense. He's your most consistent player. He's your highest energy. He's your most valuable player.
And he wanted that game.
Yeah. Tonight. And you barely gave him the ball. He had 11 rushing attempts tonight?
Yeah.
14, but 3 were on the final drive.
And
11 rushing attempts before the final drive.
And I love Holgorsen. Sometimes this play calling just makes me scratch my head. There are moments.
Opening drive of the second half, man. You're running for 6 yards of carry on the drive, and then you throw it 3 times once you cross the 50.
Then you abandon the run entirely. And that was the one way to keep a pass rush off you is to invest in the run game and make the defense stay home. Make it to where they have to invest in stopping the run game, and they can't over pursuit on the ends. You made it very easy for them to kind of pin their ears back because they weren't blitzing straight ahead. They were sending pressures from multiple directions, sometimes off the edge, sometimes up the middle. And it was confusing Nebraska's offense as to who was actually, rushing the quarterback. They ran some twists, like, they had their defensive tackles looping around. They just created mass confusion for offensive line, and an offensive line that struggles to block straightforward as it is. But when they hesitate and overcommit, when that happens, it opens a lane for the defender to get through. And then, we saw that all night. They were changing up their alignments, whether it be in the second level or whether it be with the defensive line, chained in shade, walking linebackers up late, stacking players. it's just we never knew where the pressure was coming from, and that if teams can and get like we can't just have teams be able to watch the film of the Michigan game and now this game and be able to just rinse and repeat that to beat us. They got to figure out how to stop that. And even on the simulated pressure, they would make it to where Nebraska would max protect, and then they would drop back into coverage, and that would leave no openings. So they was just very smart in how they were doing their alignment changes, how they were doing their movements, how they were disguising their pressures. It led to tons of breakdowns pass pro. The run blocking was bad. Thank God Emmett does his thing. But yeah, it's frustrating to see the same thing that we saw in the Michigan game and them to just be able to do it for 4 quarters and it's not adjust.
There was one play where Gunnar Gatula quite literally did not make an attempt to block a defensive end. I don't want to sit here and say I'm like an O-line guru, but on that play, the color guy did a really good job actually explaining it, which was very rare because he sucks. So does Tim Brando. They're fucking terrible.
I'm done commenting on the commentators. I'm just going to assume they suck every week at this point.
Yeah, they were so bad. But he explained it really well, though. He was like, you have 2 and 2, and your right tackle doesn't even make an attempt to block the edge. And he was like, I have no idea what he was thinking. And I was like, great. Neither do any of us. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Completely lost. At this point, I know they said Gunner's the future. This is like the 3rd or 4th week in a row where
we need to see it.
Really struggled.
We need to see it.
You have to pull him.
Yep.
At this point, like, it's costing you games. It's gonna get somebody hurt, quite frankly. In fact, I think Dylan did get hurt, a little banged up tonight on the final or the second to last drive of the game where he got ran into by Henry Lutovsky. It's just really bad. You got to pull. At this point, you're either coaching it or you're allowing it. And by allowing these people, these guys, to continuously fail, they're not learning at this point. So you've got to pull them. You got to try something different, even if it's for a series or 2, just to let them sit back and watch and see things a little bit differently.
Right.
And that goes for Dylan too, honestly. The offensive line's a huge problem, but also how much of this communication is on the center? We don't talk about Justin enough, but isn't that his role, calling out the alignment for the offensive line?
Yeah, depending on how they have this offensive line running, but he should be identifying those things. And right now we're not able to identify any kind of pressure at all. And so we're just constantly in a state of confusion, and we're a step behind. We're a step behind, sliding late every single time, it seems. And it's just immediate pocket collapse. And they how do you feel about the Elijah Pritchett targeting?
Man, there used to be a day and age when you could do that, but
yeah,
you can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
I don't think it was targeting. I think that it was definitely unsportsmanlike.
It definitely was a penalty. Absolutely. Yeah, you can't do that now. Yeah,
it looked like he hit him more on his shoulder and then slid into the head.
The targeting was a little weird to me. Regardless, it was going to be a 15-yard penalty, but Pritchett, he's just like, he's so talented, but you can't put him on the field with all these boneheaded mistakes, man. I don't understand. Because
he's like Nebraska's Jawan Taylor of the Chiefs.
Man, at Alabama, like the problem was he just wasn't blocking well. And now he's figured out the blocking. And now he's just, it's up here. It's between the ears. And it's just like, I don't know, like, Micah Mazuka last year was a little too aggressive for his own good. That's a whole different story what happened behind the scenes with Micah Mazuka. But again, it's just, what do you got to do to get through to him to make him stop making these boneheaded mistakes? Because immediately he threw his hands up like this. He knew, if you listen, when the flag comes out and you're in the middle of the field and you throw your hands up like this, you fucked up. You messed up.
While
so he knew he
going.
was wrong. He knew he was wrong. Because I saw the flag throw, I saw his hands go up. I knew immediately it was on us. Yeah. So bone led with the you can tell. Think actually Minnesota might have saved us there.
That's why he isn't going to go to Minnesota because Penn State, because any big game, he does what I love Coach Rhule. But any big game, he completely falls.
How much money do we have to? All right, let's not get crazy here, guys. We're crashing out a little hard.
Okay, we're not. No one's calling for Rhule's firing.
No, Rhule. Listen,
We're in a better spot still than we were 3 years ago.
Listen,
I don't think the team's much better than 3 years ago, but we're better.
I understand the crash out. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to read all the comments, but I'm going to try to get through a few of them here. Can't tackle, stop the run, 8 sacks, have no clue how to fix it. This was during the game while the game was still going on. So, yeah, more than 8 sacks now. Let's see. While Minnesota's obviously improved during the year, still no improvement to the O-line and D-line. Yeah. And it's just because I just don't think we got the talent there.
This is the biggest fumble of the entire offseason, and
we knew it.
We're armchair quarterbacks at the end of the day, but we're not stupid.
We all knew this offseason. We were all saying it. Every fan, not just us. We were all saying, what are we doing about the defensive line, the interior defensive line? But we're kind of like, you know what? Maybe they have a plan. Maybe they see something we don't because they're behind the scenes. Now I know they weren't seeing anything. You know, they were just, I think they were putting all their eggs in the basket. I don't know. Or I don't know if they had an opportunity to get them and missed, but I just feel like we didn't even pursue defensive lines. So it wasn't that.
They didn't pursue any. They didn't attempt to get anybody. They tried to get Chiaz Pete for offensive tackle. They tried to get, that guy that went to Oregon. Isaiah World.
Yep.
They were close on getting both of them at one point. I mean, one or the other. And then what happens? Someone comes in and offers more money than what Coach Rhule is willing to spend, which at this day and age, you got it. And this is what I said at the time too. You have to spend more than what you're comfortable with because you need to get this damn thing on the tracks. And then once you're on the tracks, like Georgia, you don't have to overpay because you're winning.
No, we can't. Listen, okay. We're not firing Rhule. David Adams, Big Red 1 though. Is this my uncle? Because I have an uncle David. His name's David Adams. I don't think
I crash out, but not this bad.
Yeah, no, I get it though. Yeah, hustle my cop. I get that. Rhule ain't the issue. Our program is cursed. Here we go. And I refuse to blame the uniforms. I'm just going to put it out there. I refuse to blame the uniforms for this performance. I'm over blaming the uniforms. That takes all the blame off of the actual play on the field. Offensive line was so bad, I was embarrassed for the nation to watch. Stop watching after the third quarter. Won't sniff top 25 again. We're a bad football team. When we play like that, we are a bad football team. Tonight, we were a really bad football team. And we have been very bad at times. We've been very good at times, but we've been really, really bad.
Our problem is our highs are so high and our lows are so low. There's no middle ground right now.
I just think it's like it's just no matter what, it's always the here we go again until like we win a national championship or something like that.
If we always get to 8-9 wins, we'll be fine.
Yeah, and I still think 8 wins is on the table. Like I still think 8 wins is I'm still in that 8-9 win territory.
I think you should beat Northwestern.
Absolutely. The really tough. I mean, USC is going to be
that's going to be a bear,
a mountain of a game because Jake Mayava is
Iowa and Northwestern. Like those are the 2 games you have to win your schedule, no matter what. Like there's no way you can lose those 2 games.
Oh no, we're not going. Jeff Sims let us to a closer game.
Those are 2 completely different teams. Like that's irrelevant.
Let's just relax there, guys. I get it. I understand. I do understand their crash out. All right. Let's just back it up just a little bit here. Completely agree. Rhyle's a moron in the pocket. Right when I say let's calm down here. Rhyle's a moron in the pocket. Try to be Mahomes, but the line just adds to it.
He's seeing ghost out there, man.
Yeah, and a lot of it is on him. I will say that too. I mean, we can't completely exonerate him, of course, but some of the plays that we can't fault him for going out there and making some of those plays. Like he made the play, in a couple of instances. A couple of instances he didn't. So I don't think he's trying to be Mahomes. I think he should just get out there trying to make a play.